Good morning. We are once again traveling down the biblical Route 66, and we're going to take a little pit stop, go off the highway. If we were traveling the physical Route 66, periodically we'd stop, get a cup of coffee, maybe a meal, stretch our legs. And we're going to do the same thing periodically going through the Bible as we go down this biblical Route 66 through the books of the Bible. We need to turn off to the side, contemplate where we have been, review a little bit, encourage you to make this a priority in your life where you are memorizing the key word for each book so that you can immediately think of a book of Scripture and know the key word that describes it, and the key verse of Scripture that if you desire, you can memorize these verses of Scripture. Most of them are not very long, or at least you know where they are, so you know that the key verse of each of these books. If you do that for all 66 books, you'll have a wonderful handle on Scripture. And some of you say, well, that's going to be very hard for me. I'm not a good memorizer or whatever. But the key is to stay with it, continue to review, set up a system for yourself that will work. Get yourself a little notebook like I have often mentioned to you and write down these key words and write down also the key verse. You can go on our network and we'll have that on there periodically. One family in the church I know is putting this on the refrigerator, maybe on a whiteboard or something, where they're having that for their children, so that every day as the kids go to get their milk out of the refrigerator or whatever, they can see the key words, the key scriptures, and can review these on a regular basis. This can be a wonderful tool for your own personal devotions with God, your own personal study of the Word, and for family time as you talk about the things of God together. I want to review where we've been recently, picking it up with 1 Samuel. We did this once before with the other books of Scripture. Let's pick it up at 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel is the key word is kingdom, as we see the kingdom of Israel being set up. Before that, there was not a kingdom in the same way. Now they're going to have a king, and he's going to be ruled in that way. So we have the word kingdom. But 15:22 of 1 Samuel says to obey is better than sacrifice. That's where King Saul went wrong. He was thinking that going through the rituals was enough. And God says to obey is better than sacrifice. Marvelous principle. 2 Samuel, our key word is David, because it's all about David. It tells us about the life and the reigns, the ups and the downs of this man after God's heart. 2 Samuel 2:2 says this, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. My rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. That's who the Lord is for David. That's what set apart David from Saul and from many of the kings that would follow him. The Lord was his everything, his rock, his fortress, his deliverer. 1 Kings is about compromise. That's our key word. And 18:22 says, how long will you hesitate between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, follow him. That was the challenge by Elijah to the people of that time. Are you going to follow the Lord or not? And so the compromise of the people of Israel was so prominent. But there were people like Elijah who stood up and would not compromise. And they chose to follow God. 2 Kings, our key word is rebellion, because we now follow the whole storyline of the people of Israel at first and then the people of Judah who rebelled against the Lord. 2 Kings 17:15 describe in a nutshell the failure of Israel. It says, and they followed vanity and became vain. And that is the principle that we become like that which we worship. And this book tells us about that. 1 Chronicles, the key word is covenant. God makes a promise, a covenant to David. 17:16 says, this is David's response to that covenant. Who am I, O Lord, and what is my house that you have brought me this far? David humbly thanks the Lord. 2 Chronicles is seek God. And the famous verse 7:14, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear them from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. Ezra, the key word is actually a phrase, the hand of the Lord, because 6 times we see the hand of the Lord on Ezra and also the people of Judah. 7:10 goes this way, for Ezra has set his heart to study the law of the Lord. That made him the man that he was. The key word of Nehemiah is restoration. Physical restoration of the walls, spiritual restoration of the people. 8:8 is our key verse. They read from the law of God, translating to give the sense so they understood the reading. And then finally, Esther, and our key word there is Jew, because there we see that word 47 times, where it's only found 2 other times prior to Esther. Esther 4:14, and who knows whether you have not attained royalty for such a time as this. A book of sovereignty. And so we look at these verses and these key words from these books, and now we've traveled down a number of these particular books of the Bible. Stay with that, memorize these things, go over it, review them, and you are going to be blessed if you do so, as you get a good handle on the books of Scripture. You'll have a wonderful day in the Lord if you do those things. We'll see you next time.